I like to say bamboozling.
Yes.
If you can bamboozle the fuel flow meter, then you can get an advantage potentially if you wanted to be a little bit naughty. So the teams can have access to the fuel flow meter, the single one that existed last year, just to see what it's doing. So what the FIA have done now is they put another fuel flow meter, as I understand, in the same kind of position, same area, but they're not letting the teams, they're keeping it completely proprietary. Only the FIA can have access to the data coming from that fuel flow meter, which completely cuts out any ability to bamboozle that fuel flow meter and close off that particular loophole.
How could you bamboozle the fuel flow meter? I hear you all asking around the world, wherever you may be. And the fuel flow meter measures in pulses. So kind of measure, and then there's like a millisecond, 2 millisecond, where it's not measured, then measure, then a gap, then measure. It's all a pulse measurement. You could bamboozle the fuel flow meter by maybe injecting more fuel into the internal combustion engine in those moments where the pulse is not active and the fuel flow meter is not actually registering it. That's just one way you could possibly bamboozle it, and if you don't think that makes a hell of a difference, it could make a lot of a difference on that one, because any extra fuel that bypasses the fuel flow meter and into that combustion chamber can increase your power quite substantially. But now teams can't run that risk because they don't know what pulses that other fuel flow meter is going to be measuring. So
and everyone's happy with that.
Yeah,
everyone's. I think Remy Taffin was saying, "Oh, was it Cyril Abiteboul the other day?" Certainly, someone from Renault was saying they've absolute confidence that the FIA has closed down any of the loopholes and the grey areas that we had last year,
which is super.
Sorted.
Yep. So subtle changes for this year, really, but sensible, logical changes for this year. And then next year, we'll come back to testing again, Alex, and we'll go through all the regulation changes for 2021. And I dare say the conversation might be a little longer.
Yeah, fill up the entire final hour, I think it will, as we see the SF1000 returning to the pits. And let's have a closer look at it now with some more F1 analysis. Last year's car on the left, and we see the new
It is a
reshaped...
deeper red, isn't it?
It is. It definitely is. And the reshaped side pods as well, as they're trying to make them ever slimmer in chasing the aerodynamic performance, but with the balance of the cooling as well. And that is a very tidy comparison there. Last year's car on the left, this year's car on the right.
I'm all for the SF1000 as well.
Sounds great.
Well, in a year they celebrate their 1000th Grand Prix contested. Why would you not call your car the 1000? It makes perfect sense, unless you go to SF91 next year, which they could possibly do, because it's SF92, for instance. It's normally in sequence.
They actually borrowed a little winglet just above the side pod entry with off Red Bull Ferrari for this year. It has what's called a Horner wing on the end of it. It's actually pronounced Herner.
Herner wing.
A Herner wing. It's a little winglet that comes out and then flicks up into a little like a. I think you can probably see it on this. Just above, if you trace the upper element, if you look at the wing mirror, and then the barge board that's just below that, so we get a good tyre temperature measurement. The barge board that's just below the wing mirror, at the outer edge of it, you can see it flicks up a bit like a bird's wing. And Red Bull started that. The top element of that barge board. Red Bull started that a couple of years ago.
And why did they name it the Herner wing?
It's a Herner, H-O-E-R-N-E-R. It's just the name of the shape of the wing. You see it at the edge of aircraft.
Okay.
I believe. Let me just check on your computer here.
Which helps with vortices.
Yes. How do you know?
Well, otherwise it wouldn't be there, I suppose. I've learned a lot from you in 15 years, you know that. And occasionally I actually remember the bits I've learned from you.
Here we go. Herner, H-O-E-R-N-E-R, a Herner wing. You see them on the end of Cessna 152s and 172s, which is how I know about it. But it's a little bit at the end. You see what I mean? So It flicks up, curls round, and obviously in aircraft they use it so that it goes down to generate lift. Where in Formula One cars they do it where it flicks up to generate downforce.
Which an F1 car is a plane upside down.
We got a little bell for F1 cliches as well.
Yeah, listen.
You have been on 8 hours.
On a scale of 1 to 10, F1 dummies is my 12. Don't worry about that one. But people tune in all the time, and people watch F1 and might be discovering F1 for the very first time, which is why sometimes we do state the obvious.
But when Red Bull debuted the Horner wing, I always thought Adrian Newey put it on as a joke, as a pun for Christian Horner, but it wasn't. It was because he is
not
Formula
like
One's preeminent aerodynamicist.
the famous parts that appeared on a car from Brackley once that was named after. The CEO at the time. Nick Fry's ears. Do you remember the Nick Fry's ears that appeared on the Honda?
No, I don't. They're the ones now on the Ferrari.
I don't think they made much of a difference on the racetrack, to be fair.
45 minutes to go. I'm going to have to go in a sec because actually, don't you as well? Because we've got this program.
I have absolutely no idea, to be honest.
I don't know what day of the week it is at this point, do you, Crofty?
Someone escorted me into a commentary box today and said, "Look, you've not been in one of these for quite a while. Fill your boots, lad."
Anyone else? Have you done a Kubica-Giovinazzi comparison? I assume Giovinazzi's not on the same program as his teammate Robert Kubica in
I
that.
would certainly
Alfa
hope
Romeo
not.
Sauber.
Yeah, I mean he's 1.7 seconds slower on his best time.
Yeah, well, it's just testing.
Well,
Magnussen, the pace of that Haas, not looking particularly spectacular, although the margins are quite small.
This test Haas shouldn't be chasing fast times. They should be working out how to keep those tyres within the operating window they need them to be in. That's what 6 days of testing should be about for Haas, because that was their massive Achilles heel last year.
Yeah, and to be honest, looking at it at their unveil this morning, 8 a.m. in the pit lane, Barcelona time, it does look like a sensible car. There's nothing out of this world on it. There's nothing particularly earth-shattering, but there's lots of stuff that's current and cutting edge and sensible. And I think you're right. I don't think they're going after the next big thing aerodynamically, innovation of the century. I just think it's all about going back to the basics.
Mean McFreeze, who's fastly becoming my favourite tweeter of all time, says Gasly said it can be Tory or Tory, depending on where you're from, in terms of the Alpha Tory. Which might be the one that I kind of remember and refer to more often this year, because it tends to trip off the tongue just a little bit easier.
Ross the Boss there,
No, that's Cyril.
No, I know, just before Ross the Boss. Now the second most famous Dutch racing driver.
Have you noticed the winter hair on Cyril the Beat Boy? He's not gone for the shaven shorn locks.
I thought he was a comedian. No, I assume he looks windswept. I assume he's been watching trackside.
Windswept and interested.
I was impressed by Danny Rick's time, I must say. I know we're not looking at times, but to be on, I think he did it with, it wasn't even 20 laps gone. It wasn't. He equalled Ocon's best time in a brand new car, first time in there.
I wonder if they had to reassess their run plan for this afternoon, given the amount of time that he lost and is now losing once again. Although, to be fair, there's only Verstappen and Latifi out on the track.
Wouldn't have said it was the end of the world. It's just less than everybody else.
Well, here's the thing. It isn't the end of the world, but compared to the way everyone else is going, it's a lot of miles down, isn't it?
Best looking car in Formula One? Question?
Oh, we've already voted it.
Have you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's one of the few things that Alex and I have actually agreed on today.
It just looks fresh, doesn't it? It looks fresh.
Be a TV engineer. It does look fresh.
It looks fresh.
No. The Williams looks fresh. There's the photo. But no, we love it. We think it's brilliant. It looks different, doesn't it?
It does.
Absolutely different.
I will. I wasn't at the launch in Salzburg at Hangar 7, or is it Hangar 8 or Hangar 9? But I hear they did a little fashion show with Alpha Tauri. If people don't know, it's a clothing brand owned by Red Bull.
Yes, it is.
And there were some people cutting some styles, some shapes with the clothes. So I don't know whether they're going to do a cross promotion of kitting people out in some cooler clothes around the place.
Oh, that's
in Formula One.
Are you after some cooler clothes?
No. I'm happy with what I've got.
All right.
Almost need the shorts today.
Got a message. I've got a message from Grove. Good afternoon, Claire Williams, who is obviously listening to the coverage and has just sent me
Not a great review, is it?
No, less of the fresh jokes, please, Crofty. I didn't even refer to Williams on that one.
Did you do the... it's been playing on my mind when the last time we had 2 Canadian drivers in Formula 1. You might have done this already.
2 at the same time?
Yeah, at the same time. Have you not done this?
No, I haven't, but it has happened before, but it was a long while ago.
What's the hashtag again? F1 Inbox.
Yes.
F1 Inbox.
F1 Inbox. Last time we had 2 Canadians at the same time in Formula 1, please.
I think we might have done this last season. Right, I'm going to.
I'm sure it's obvious, and we're going to get shouted at, but
it's usually how this works. It is not.
So when
you're cheating. You're cheating.
No, I'm cheating because I looked it up last year, so I can look it up again. There have been, ladies and gentlemen, 14 drivers from the great country of Canada who have driven in Formula 1. Only one of them not named Villeneuve that's been on the podium, and then of course is Lance Stroll. And here is the timeline. Never had 2 Canadians start a Formula 1 season, but I think George Eaton and John Cannon both competed in 1971, which is why I said it was a long time ago. So I think that could be the answer to the last time we had 2.
Or that we're not confusing Gilles Villeneuve and his brother Jacques, are we?
No.
Because his brother is Jacques, isn't he?
Yes.
Jacques Villeneuve's uncle is also Jacques.
Yeah, there's Jacques Villeneuve Senior.
Yeah.
And Jacques Villeneuve Junior.
Anyway, as I say, hashtag F1 Inbox.
Yeah, well done for this one. You've got
Canadians.
me thinking. Alex is now thinking in the corner as well.
Last time we had 2 Canadians in a Formula 1 season, start of Formula 1 season.
1967 was the last time we had 2 drivers, Canadian drivers, participating in the Canadian Grand Prix. But there you go. A real conversation starter, this one, Kravitz. You should come up to the commentary box more often.
I'm going to be a conversation leaver now because I need to go and prepare for the...
yes, you probably do. And to be fair, probably so do I, but I don't think Alex is going to let me go anywhere for a while. Claire Williams also says, why haven't you voted our livery as one of the best of the season? No, we like the livery.
I think Claire is welcome to come up and make the case in person. I think it would be
come and
terrific.
see us, Claire, yes.
Oh, have we spoken about Latifi taking number 6 off Rosberg?
No, but he has done.
I know there are many more days testing until we go.
Empty the bag now.
Sorry,
we'll deal with it tomorrow.
And he's allowed to, because Nico's been gone now for more than 2 seasons.
That's the end of the Rosberg comeback. No chance now. Doesn't have the number.
If
he did come back, what
says
would
Alex
happen?
Jakes.
And the reason is because people from Toronto are known as the 6, I believe. It's the area code. It's the area code, or it's the beginning of the area code for Toronto. It's either 616 or 672.
I thought he was just doing it to annoy Nico.
No. There's if you're from Toronto, you're known as I'm the 6. So I think that's the reason.
Last 2 Canadians together, Gilles Villeneuve and Jacques Villeneuve Senior.
Yes.
1981. Jose Miguel Moronda.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, to be fair, DC3 got that as well. Was it not the Villeneuve brothers, Gilles and Uncle Jacques? So thank you, Douglas_DC3 as well.
And James Tweddle just checked on Wikipedia. It says Nicholas Latifi was born in Montreal. So Crofty, I do believe it means you're correct.
Don't encourage him, James, please.
Yeah, he was. But he grew up in Toronto.
Yes, born in Montreal, grew up in Toronto. That could be the answer.
I missed that bit. Could have cleared that up very quickly.
Is that absolutely? Is that fact?
I think that's what he told me last year.
Thank you very much indeed. So
there's a podcast somewhere where he explains it all.
So Ted, thank you for joining us in the commentary box. I was right.
Yeah. You were right. Story of my life. Okay, well listen, now I know where the Charles Leclerc interview is. Should we give the wrap-up show a plug? So I must say thank you very much for watching. If you stay with us, hope we've managed to entertain you. And the first day of testing is always fantastic, isn't it? To get a view of these fresh cars, whatever they are, and whatever size and shape and how fast they're going, and see what are the cars they're doing, and the drivers dressed in different stuff. The return of Esteban Ocon, the debut of Nicholas Latifi. They're the only sort of new boys, aren't they? But otherwise, fresh liveries, whether it's AlphaTauri or Williams or whatever, it's all good stuff. Thanks for watching. And if you're GMT, it's 5 PM, isn't it? 1700
So
GMT.
40 minutes time, ladies and gentlemen.
on-
You're in the UK.
If you're in the UK.
Tune in.
Oh yes, it's not. Yeah, of course. Yeah,
'Cause it's
Sky F1.
Yes. Just for our UK viewers, Ted and I will go and do some stuff at the SkyPad.
And we've
Alex.
got Innovation of the Week as well. I'm going to have a go at that on the first day.
So the thing is, we're going to be doing all the highlights on the SkyPad, and there haven't been mega major incidents today.
Haven't really, have
Just happened. That's it. Out comes Daniel Ricciardo again with the Kobe Bryant tribute and helmets for testing. Thanks, Ted. Great to see you, Kobe. And Ted Williams.
they? Out of his natural habitat, in a comm box.
But he's always wanted to come up to the commentary box. He's always saying, I'd love to come up to the commentary box. Mate.
That's the great thing about
Ooh,
testing. Different combinations, not
Yeah.
only on the track, but in the comm box as well.
Claire Williams, most welcome if she
She's
wants
got
to
to turn
pop
up
up.
now. Although she might give you a slightly hard time, so I'm all for it.
Claire has been giving me a hard time for many years. Very dear friend. And yeah, she can send messages like that. And then ban me from breakfast in the Williams motorhome this year. Can't be doing that. But thank you, though, to everyone who has been watching today. We are on air every single day of the test, live throughout the day.
So have you worked out what time you have to go?
Rover Claire is now saying, I'll come up. She better hurry up, though.
Only 36 minutes left.
Right. Is it warm? Is there tea? Is there biscuits?
It's one of those things. There's heat up here. Nothing in the way of a brew, though, unfortunately. The pictures look phenomenal at this stage. This is one of the great things of bringing you testing, that you get a wonderful shot of the sun going down. We had the sun rising in the sky earlier on, and there are always some amazing still photographs.
Claire's now messaged me to say, don't read out my messages. I'm sorry, no, I've done it again, haven't I?
It's going to be a long apology before you get prepped for the review coming up in
I've spent my life
36 minutes' time.
apologising. I wouldn't worry about it, to be honest. If Sebastian Vettel was really sick this week, says Juan Del Cador, would Ferrari bring their reserve driver, or would it be Brendan Hartley?
It's a good question. I like that.
Would they bring their reserve driver? No, I think if Charles Leclerc is up for it, why wouldn't he be? Charles Leclerc will carry on doing the driving duties. But I would imagine Seb will be back in the car tomorrow.
It'd be interesting to see if he's starting tomorrow and does the whole day, or whether they alternate sessions, or how Ferrari deal with that. That's if it wasn't an excuse to get out of the admin of day number one.
Don't fancy it much. Go to the beach. No, I think Seb.
When it's dialed in,
he would have wanted to have got in the car.
yes.
If he was up for it. But look, if he didn't feel that he was 100%, then there's no point being in the car today, because he knew that all things being equal, there'd be a lot of mileage on the clock. Max Verstappen, it's 35 minutes to go. Verstappen's in the pits at the moment. He's 161. He's got 19 laps to go before I get another dance reference in. And give it the 180 for today. Meanwhile, Daniel Ricciardo out on the track with the DRS wide open, and I think going for another push lap. He's just set personal best time of a 1:17.8 to go 7th fastest on the C2 compound tyre.
Yeah, making up for lost time there in the test liveried Renault. And well, look at this.
Tom Clarkson's just now arrived into the commentary box.
He's not only arrived,
He's brought,
but
you are a
he has brought cake. He has brought a scone.
Wow, yes, it's a scone.
Oh,
Alex.
my word.
Here's a lock-up, by the way.
There's the lock-up.
Here's a lock-up.
Come on,
with
on
Daniel
topic. We
Ricciardo.
can do this.
Yeah, let's talk over the replay, then we'll talk cakes, trust me.
Yeah, heavy breaking point on the circuit, turn number 10, but no huge dramas. Save for Verstappen. That's been the story of the day so far.
Mr. Clarkson, your microphone is there, sir. You can have microphone number 3.
Crofty's beginning to sense freedom.
Freedom. I've actually got to go down and prepare for our wrap-up show. But Tom Clarkson, I can bring in scones. And it's scone time, isn't it?
It's definitely that time of day, isn't it? The
very
sun's
much.
going down. I don't think Jenson Button, being a West Country boy in the UK, is going to approve of the scones as they are, because the jam and then the cream. And I think in the West Country they do it the other way around.
Cream and then the jam, because the jam sticks to the cream.
Scone, jam first, cream first.
It's complicated business, Alex.
It's a very complicated business. Right, we just need to sit down very, very quickly, because people need to see who's here. And ladies and gentlemen, voice of podcasting and now Facebook
all
TV.
All of
Tom
it.
Clarkson
Voice of all
is with us.
podcasts.
Yeah,
There he is.
The shot's a bit back because we had to move the telly, because
Yeah.
Alex Jakes became Alex Breaks when he broke the TV over there. So we had to move things around. But welcome to the testing commentary box, and for the last half an hour of an absorbing day.
Oh, hasn't it been fantastic? I mean, I've spent a lot of time in the paddock doing some press conferences today and stuff like that, so I haven't seen every lap that's been going on, but just look at the headline times. It's so quick.
It is. It is, and without trying, they've been so quick as well.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? 18.1 was the fastest lap on the first day.
Right.
Last year,
1.2 seconds up on that.
I know. We're going to see. I think Ocon came out at lunchtime and said that we're going to see all the lap records broken this year, and it's going to be something to behold, isn't it?
We've touched on it. It's the last year of Formula One, very, very fast in its current guise.
Yeah.
Before the clever people get set making the cars faster again, which of course they will do. Such is the cycle of Formula One. Such is the cycle at the moment. I'm going to leave you in the company of the lovely Alex Jakes here. And I'm sadly going to miss the last half an hour where there is going to be a red flag 5 minutes from the end.
How do you know? Because there always is.
If this happens, we're not even going to acknowledge it.
You are.
No
You heard it
graphic.
first.
It's not going
I've
to be
obviously
shown.
missed a bit of banter, but what? We're just going to pretend that Lewis is doing another lap.
Yeah.
Another lap.
Essentially what has happened is no red flag so far today. Bit of a shock. First day of testing. Who'd have thought it? Well, Crofty's been claiming all day long.
There'll be a red flag 5 minutes from the end.
Yeah.
And that will be the only red flag of the day.
Yeah.
If it comes off, it'll be the most amazing prediction ever. And on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you on the last day of testing. Thank you very
Go
much,
on, give us a
everybody.
wave, Crofty.
I will now.
Wave
I'll
goodbye.
wave. I'll wave so you can see my head as well. I didn't think they were going to put me in shot, but it's been an utter pleasure to be here today. I've really enjoyed it.
Who knows what the running order will be by the time you return to this commentary
I
box?
cannot wait. I shall be forming a groove on
Well,
the
you're
sofa
into
tomorrow.
predictions. What do you think it's going to be?
Ooh. On the last day, the fastest car.
That is bold.
It's
My
not
word.
bold.
I can't believe it. You've predicted a Mercedes.
No, actually, no, I'm going to change my mind because I've just realised why it's not going to be that one. Because I think another team will put on a softer compound of tyre and will get a time that is faster.
But you think the fastest racing car?
Fastest racing car will be that.
Okay.
Outlandish.
I could be wrong.
Crofty.
Lovely to see
Thanks,
you.
Crofty.
Lovely to see you. Take care, boys.
What a stint. What a stint to the commentary box.
Amazing man.
He's off to speak to his agent very, very quickly now.
So, Alex, as I said, I've been doing podcasts and all sorts today. Tell me that the headline things are that unbelievable reliability and unbelievable pace. Is that?
I thought you might ask this, Tom.
If you were going to sum it up, tell me what I've missed.
I think, basically, the reliability is a big headline. To run, if you're just switching on, if you've just got in and you're like, what's this, live testing? Yes, it is. For every single minute of every single day, for both tests this year. It's great to have you with us. And today, we've seen a software issue for Daniel Kvyat. That was earlier on. That was fixed rather quickly. We saw an Alfa Romeo smoking when it was in the hands of Robert Kubica. That was in the morning. And Max Verstappen's had 2 spins and has been pushing out there. It's not been a gentle test run for him. We've also had Bottas, who topped the morning times. You see 79 laps for him this morning. Hamilton beyond that now, on to 80. Renault lost some time in the afternoon, and as Crofty has observed, no red flags. that pretty much covers things. The only real major moments, we've seen lockups, we've seen wide moments at this part of the racetrack from not from Max Verstappen, from Kevin Magnussen, but we haven't, and he had a moment at turn 9. I'm remembering things as I update you here, Tom. It's been a longish day, but essentially the reliability, mega, Mercedes back at the front again, but sound the klaxon, it's only day 1. And this time last year, it looked very good for Ferrari. We know how the stuff last season turned out. Also, Ferrari have lost a little bit of time today.
It's going to be fascinating, isn't it? With the rule changes that are coming next year, I think, we're going to see, if you've designed a dud, I think we're going to see those teams switch really early to 2021, aren't we? There's no point flogging a dead horse. You've just got to move on, and there's such a great opportunity next year. So I think we're going to end up with a situation later this year where I think the top 3 teams or whatever 4 teams are going to be pushing all the way through, but then I think the guys at the back are going to divert all their resources very early to next year. So I think we're going to see quite a gulf appear between the front and the back as the year goes on.
I think that makes a lot of sense, given that the changes are so substantial for 2021. Now, you've seen Tom's face from the commentator cam a moment ago, but you'll recognise Tom's voice from Beyond the Grid. And as soon as you have stepped foot in this commentary box, Luna has asked, when is Beyond the Grid coming back? Do you have any teasers of the guests that you'll have on this year? Well,
we have guests. Thank you for the question.
Good start.
Which is a good start. This time of year, I'm what I call stockpiling, because as you can imagine, coming out with a podcast every week is quite a big ask. It's the organising apart from anything, getting these guys to commit an hour of their time. So, yes, I've got some in the bag already. Am I going to reveal who we've got? I don't know. I'll mention one name so far.
Go on.
Flavio Briatore.
That.
As colourful as ever, and I hooked up with him in Monaco last week. Boy, oh boy, there are going to be various people in the current paddock who are not going to enjoy listening to Flavio's thoughts, but I came away from chatting to him thinking I miss that guy, because he just shoots from the hip. And
massive character, involved in title wins for Schumacher, involved in title wins for Alonso as well.
Wants Alonso to come back.
Does he?
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing, isn't it? Who's quick, who's slow this year. But also we're going to see, the driver silly season this year. What's it, only three drivers, I think, have got contracts for 2021 already. So there's going to be a lot of movement. Whether there's a lot of movement in the top teams, I don't know, but there's going to be a lot of movement later this year.
Is he still Fernando Alonso's manager?
Yeah.
Is that why he wants him to come back?
Yeah, okay. Funny that. But, you start thinking, well, hang on a minute. If Ricciardo does leave Renault, does that leave an opportunity? I think Renault's about the only place where Alonso could end up. And Flavio
only place that would take him?
Of the top teams, I think.
Yeah, because the top teams seem allergic to him.
And Flavio was busy emphasising how fit Fernando is. And
so how much of the podcast is
Fernando? No, there's a lot about Schumacher and stuff. So that was fun. That was really fun. But we're coming back, and the first episode is on the Wednesday before Melbourne, and then every week thereafter.
Fantastic. Now, and what's the setup? Because you hear the heavily edited podcast.
Hang on. Who says heavily edited?
No, I imagine there as well.
Verbatim.
Is first time, every time. Yeah. Just gold. But what's the setup? Is it you and an army of people?
No.
Or is it just you one-on-one?
Completely the opposite. I think one-on-one, we just sit down in a quiet room and have a chat. And it's so interesting, particularly with the current grid, because everything today, not just in Formula One, just is bite-sized, isn't it? It's 5 minutes of interviews and stuff, and so the first 5-10 minutes is always a little bit bullet point and a staccato, and then suddenly they look at their watches and realise, hang on, I've got this bloke for another 50 minutes, and you just visibly almost see them relax.